Ruth Mae McCoy was the type who talked to herself and cursed strangers on the street. When she called 911 to report that someone was coming through the medicine cabinet of her Abbott Homes apartment, she might have been hallucinating. But she wasn't. Ruth Mae McCoy was terrified. "Someone has threatened my life," she said to the woman next to her. They were riding in a van that was taking them home from an outpatient psychiatric center at Mount Sinai Hospital. The woman urged McCoy to relate her fears to a staff member at the clinic, but McCoy said she did not want to get anyone else involved. Now, McCoy, at 52 years old, went through much of her life afraid. She was hounded by paranoia. Her fears were not soothed by her dwelling place for the last 4 years. A high-rise building in a near Southside Chicago Housing Authority project known as ABLA, where the van dropped her off this Wednesday afternoon, April 22nd. She lived in one of the 7 15-story brown, Y-shaped towers named the Grace Abbott Homes, the most dangerous buildings in ABLA. A claustrophobe in a closet might be more at ease than a paranoid like McCoy in an Abbott high-rise. The buildings feature dark, malfunctioning elevators, pitch-black stairwells, and cocaine and PCP addicts on nearly every floor. Fiends really are lurking in the shadows here. In these towers, you're crazy if you're not always looking over your shoulders. McCoy lived at the end of a corridor on the 11th floor of the building at 1440 West 13th Street. At 8:45 this April evening, Chicago police got a 911 call from McCoy. She said, "I'm a resident at 1440 West 13th Street, and some people next door are totally tearing this down, you know?" The frantic voice began. "What are they doing, ma'am?" asked the dispatcher. McCoy's response is unintelligible on tape, but apparently the dispatcher caught her gist. "They want to break in?" he asked. "Yeah. They throwed the cabinet down," dispatcher said. "From where?" McCoy replied. "I'm in the project. I'm on the other side. You can reach my bathroom. They want to come through the bathroom." Dispatcher: "All right, ma'am. At what address?" 1440 West 13th Street, apartment 1109. The elevator's working." Dispatcher said, 1109? All right. "What's your name, ma'am?" "Ruth McCoy," she responded. "All right. I'll send you the police." The dispatcher wasn't certain what McCoy had been trying to report. What could she have meant by "they throwed the cabinet down" and "they want to come through the bathroom"? Nevertheless, he closed the phone call in order to send a beat car on its way. He assigned a 12th District car to answer a disturbance with a neighbor complaint at 1440 West 13th Street. That he didn't report the call as a break-in attempt may explain why the police hadn't yet arrived at McCoy's door at 9:02. When another 911 call came in concerning apartment 1109, this was from a woman who said she had been walking through the hallway and heard gunshots from the apartment at 9:04. Another neighbor called to report the gunshots and hollering from 1109. 2 more police cars headed to the scene. 4 officers apparently arrived at McCoy's door around 10 minutes after 9. They pounded on the door, announced their presence, called from McCoy, but no answer. They asked the dispatcher to call McCoy on her phone. "We think somebody may be in there holding somebody," an officer told the dispatcher over the radio. The officers listened to the phone ring and ring. There were 2 more officers downstairs, and they drove over to the project office, a block away on Loomis, to get the key to 1109, but the key did not fit McCoy's lock. This left the officers wondering what to do. Should they break into the apartment? Talking with neighbors didn't help much. Nobody answered across the hall. The apartment next door was vacant, and the neighbors in the apartment down the hall said no. They hadn't heard or seen a thing. Other neighbors on the floor said an elderly woman lived in 1109. They say that she always answers her door. One of the officers told the dispatcher in a hesitant voice, and there is no answer. So, I don't know if maybe she answered to the wrong person or what. The officers contacted the project office again, but the janitor there said he had no other key for 1109, and so At 9:48 p.m., the police left McCoy's building and the project. The following evening, police got a call from Deborah Leslie, an 11th floor neighbor of McCoy's. Leslie said McCoy normally stopped by her apartment on her way of the building every morning and upon her return in the afternoon, but this day, she hadn't stopped by at all. Leslie had seen police at McCoy's door the night before and was worried. About half a dozen police officers and 4 or 5 CHA security guards arrived on the scene. Their knocks and calls from McCoy went unanswered. Most of the police officers thought they ought to break down the door, neighbors say. But the security guards discouraged them. One of them raised the possibility of the tenant suing if the police broke in. And if you bust down the door, the security guards told the police officers, you will have to get someone up here to secure it. The police officers shrugged and left. The next day, Leslie notified the project office of her concerns at about 1 p.m. A project official arrived at McCoy's door with a carpenter who drilled through the lock. They found McCoy in the bedroom, lying on her side in a pool of blood. A hand over her chest, one shoe on and one off. Papers, magazines, and coins were strewn down around her on the floor. When police later turned McCoy slightly, the faint smell of rotting flesh rose through the apartment. She had been shot 4 times, probably with a gun of medium caliber. The medical examiner who performed the autopsy, Dr. Yupil Choi, said that 1 bullet passed through her left shoulder, another passed through her left thigh, a third entered the right side of her abdomen, pierced the liver, and exited the left side of the abdomen. The 4th and fatal bullet passed through her right upper arm and entered her chest and severed a vein. Choi listed the cause of death as an internal bleeding. McCoy probably didn't die immediately, Choi says, but because of the injury of the vein, a principal vessel in the lung. He doubts that she lasted long. She probably wouldn't have survived even if she had been taken quickly to a hospital, he says. She was pronounced dead at Cook County Hospital at 4:35 p.m. Friday, April the 24th.